Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today. I'm told it's super easy to do at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
Hey, how's it going? This is 2 Pints in-game name. I'm a microbiologist in Utah, United States of America. I'd like to start off by saying that the style of music and the arty music name is actually Baroque, not to be pedantic. Have a good one, and thanks for the good episodes.
Welcome to episode 210 of the Wilderness Podcast. I am Dills, and joining with me today, Mr. Heartless. How is it going?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing pretty good. It feels kind of like a quieter week. We got an update for Group Ironman mode. I think we talked about it last week, but it feels like a lot of the hype from Group Ironman mode is dying out. I think a lot of groups are suffering from this issue where a lot of their teammates have kind of stopped playing. So a lot of group accounts. You want
a hot take, Dills?
Oh, this early in the show? Let's hear it.
It was dead. It was dead the week it came out.
Oh no. There's been a lot of chatter because I think not as many people are playing it now, and I know a lot of people get stuck because I've talked to people and it seems quite common where you have a group of like 4 or 5 or even 3, and then all your group members stop playing it and you're left and you're basically playing an Iron account. Now, that being said, there definitely are group accounts that did continue playing and they seem to be really enjoying it. And I think it comes to this topic that resurfaces like every other week where having different ways to play the game is usually a good thing. There's really no harm in it. But anyways, that being said, I think Jagex saw that this mode is underperforming, so they've brought out some updates to allow people to shift around their groups and a few other things on top of a Group Ironman competition.
Yeah, it unfortunately, I feel like it promotes a more casual play style than a regular Ironman where you have to do everything by yourself and it can take forever. Mm-hmm. So you're incentivized to work as a group to get to the items and like do the content. So like in theory, it's easier, but then it's also almost harder because every single player needs to be committed in order to make progress with your group.
Yeah, and it can be frustrating where if you group up with someone and you're like, hey, I got, 4 black masks for the team, and then everyone else quits. It's kind of like, well, goddamn.
It feels bad. So it's like a casual game mode, but it's also not really possible to take it. You can take it casually, but if you want to keep progressing the account, you all kind of need to be playing at similar paces.
Yeah, and I think it's tough because the stuff that would be the most fun to play as a group iron group, it's kind of a big grind, like doing raiding or bossing. Like you can't really do that right out the gates. There's a few things, maybe like Winter Todd and stuff, but it's not. I don't know if that's the same.
It's almost harder to play it than a regular Ironman because a regular Iron, you can take 3 weeks off, not feel so bad, come back to the game, go really hard for like maybe 6 months. I don't know, take a little break, come back, and you kind of do it at your own pace, and you're still progressing until the later game. But on a group Iron, like if you're like, sorry boys, like I'm working this month, I'm taking a month off. All of a sudden, you're 20 combat levels behind your friends. And now you feel bad about like taking their items and you can't do group content because you're too low level. Like there's almost like this weird commitment part to it that might even feel bad in some situations. So
yeah, it's like, I used to have, like when I was younger, I'd have like a group of friends that all played video games. We all played video games, but like every week they would say, hey, we're playing Rust. We're playing this new game. And because I was always sucked into RuneScape or some other MMO, by the time I got to that game, I was always so behind everyone, or just something happened and the group would kind of get split up in terms of like their player progression. Someone would be left behind, and that's not really fun. And then it's like, anyways, this shit dies out real quick. So I can understand how it's doesn't work out for everyone, but there's that perfect RuneScape group out there that's playing it, and they're really enjoying it. So
I feel like it's a fun journey to a certain point, and when you start to get into like the really late game is when it would be challenging.
Yeah.
Because imagine having to grind out 4 twisted bows. Like one, you can get lucky on it. You know what I mean? On your iron, you can go and snipe a twisted bow on 9 KC on your ultimate Iron Man, and you're chilling for the rest of the year, like for the rest of your account's life. But if you snipe that, then you still have to get 3 more, with your group Iron Man.
That is tricky.
But I mean, I think there's certainly people who are still enjoying it. But like we've said many, many times, it took too many resources and far too long to get out for what it is.
Yeah, they the way they pitched it was it being like one of the big, like capstone updates, of the year, which was maybe for some, but I think for most they were like, okay, take it or leave it. But anyways, that being said, we'll get into the actual updates in a bit. The next RuneScape update or dev blog we got is, what is this, V3 or V4 of the PvP rewards from the PvP arena. So we got another version of that. They've been talking to a bunch of people in the PvP Discord, which is apparently full of high-level PvPers, pures, multi-clanners, PVMers that just like to play in the wilderness. It has a whole mix of everyone all giving their opinions about what armor should be introduced. And so we got another revision of it, but I think this is going to be the last one. If these all fail, which, I mean, we'll get into it, but I think they're going to. They've mentioned that they're okay with bringing out the arena with having no rewards tied to it. So I think that's what's going to happen next.
Dead content.
Yeah, so sad.
Yeah, the arena is just like, the whole concept is weird because if there's no rewards, it's going to be even worse. Even if there were rewards, it's going to pull more people out of the wilderness to fight in the arena, and then the wildie's going to be even more dead. What if they had the arena was like you get teleported to a random place in the wilderness?
Oh, you can watch
fighting.
people?
Yeah.
That'd be interesting.
But in the stadium, it's also PvP, so you would be like fighting each other on the ring while you're watching.
Chaos.
Yeah.
Oh, that would be chaos. I think the PvP arena could be this way, but kind of like a better version of what LMS does, Last Man Standing, where Last Man Standing is a PvP minigame, but it's very accessible, and it's a great place to learn to like tri-brid. And it's tough when you're going out there with no tri-bridding skills. You're going to get pummeled by a lot of people. But I really wanted to learn, and I went there, and I have gotten better. I'm not great, but I get a kill more times than I don't, at least one kill. And what this allowed me to do was I became a better PKer, so that when I PK on my pure and I'm tri-bridding on my pure, I can actually do it. And I can face off against other pures, and sometimes I get my ass kicked, but sometimes I can do well to fight back. Now I can't really do it on my main because I just get the PKers who PK on main accounts at level 126. They tend to be a lot better. So I can't do it on my main yet, but I think if the PvP arena could offer what LMS does, but better, where you're facing people at your similar skill level, I think it could allow people to become better PKers, and then, hey, let's go into the wilderness. But yeah, we'll have to see. That's going to be an interesting one. That should be coming out, I think, next month. And then finally, last dev blog, we have the RuneScape Kingdoms board game Kickstarters coming out in a few days. And yeah, that's pretty much it. But we'll talk about that again when the updates come, because that's what we do in that segment. Heartless, what have you been up to?
Not much. Feeling a lot better now. The crazy cough is gone.
Nice.
Or pretty much. I cough like once a day now, so that's good. And yeah, it's not too much, dude. Honestly, RuneScape.
Just chilling, eh?
I think so. I got a Nightmare staff. First
That's
Nightmare
good.
drop. Yeah, very good. So I don't have a Kodai, so it's basically an upgrade to the Master One, giving 15% accuracy and damage.
But you don't have any, because the Nightmare, what is it? The Nightmare staff, you can put these orbs in it, which give it different perks. Do you have any of those?
No, but you don't need the orbs the orbs just give it different perks, you're right. But the baseline of the Nightmare staff is it's you can auto cast ancients, and it gives you that 15% damage and accuracy. So it's basically like an upgraded. It's like it's like a Kodai, but it doesn't have the rune reduction passive where like you save 15% of your runes, and it doesn't have infinite water runes, and it has like slightly less magic attack bonus. Like it's like plus 16 instead of plus 20, but that's usually pretty irrelevant.
Interesting. Okay, that's cool.
So it's a good middle ground between like the Master Wand and the Kodai.
Not bad. Well, grats. That's pretty sweet. You like the Fasani's Nightmare, eh?
I like I do like the fight. It's pretty good. It's very intense, so I can't do like tons and tons at a time. But I like the length of it. And now that I have the Sleepy Tablet, it's a little easier to get there. So I would rather be doing Nex and like getting Torva because it's just generally a better armor set right now. But it's much easier. There's like no supply cost basically for doing Nightmare. I just use Carom Wands, a couple prayer pots. So that's the nice part about it. And I can just kind of like, if you have half an hour to play, you can just go and send 3 Fatani's Nightmares, but you can't really go. You need a couple hours to do a good next session.
True. Okay.
Finding a team, getting KC, etc., etc. So that's one of the reasons I quite like it. Same with Tob, like finding a team, etc. If you need kind of a good chunk of time to send a couple. So that's one of the reasons I like Nightmare. But that's pretty much it.
It is fun. It's an intense fight. It's very tough, but it feels really good when you can get the kill. When I got my first kill, I felt so good about that. But yeah, it can be long, and I still die. I still die every now and then, and it's always like it's just rough because you're like,
it's not so bad with the tablet because you can kind of run back, but it is rough out there. It's a hard boss. It's very punishing if you make mistakes, but once you've got enough kills, it's kind of like Corrupted Gauntlet. They're similar-ish. You can kind of chill and just listen to music and do it fairly simply. The more and more KC you get, the more comfortable you'll be. So that's good.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much it. Have you done anything interesting?
No, not really. I'm like slowly ticking away some of these skills, and I do some PVM when I have time. I don't know if I mentioned it, but we've been I got a 6-month-old, and he is now sleeping at night. So I get like 3 hours where I can game. So I've been sneaking in some PVMing in the evening and doing some skilling during the day, and it's all fine and dandy. It is fun. The grind to max is slow mining. I don't know why, but I really, really don't like mining. I'm at level 96, close to 97, so I'm getting closer and closer, but there's something about it that I really am just so sick of it.
Mining? It's not great. It's slow. You just have to accept it for what it is. 22k an hour at Amethyst.
It's so slow, but I did rune crafting as well, like blood runes, and it was pretty AFK, and I think it's like 34k experience an hour. It's like it's kind of AFK, but it's not as AFK as you would want it to be, but it's not bad. I don't know why. I had no problem doing. I went from level 91 to 99 over the course of whatever, but I did that all day, every day. But something about mining, it just sucks.
I feel you.
I think it's because with blood runes, when you're blood rune crafting, you get these. You don't get that much experience, but you get these big drops of like 2k and 4 or up to 5k. These giant XP drops, which kind of feel nice. Whereas like mining is so slow, it's just like 260 or whatever it is every couple of minutes. It's
pretty much the worst skill in the game. For me, it doesn't really come close, especially now that Guardians of the Rift is out.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. And it kind of leads me to like something that I saw earlier this week on Reddit. Somebody made a post, and I see these posts happen all the time. Like every month or so, you'll see someone posting about how specifically the smithing skill, how it feels outdated. And I mean, mining can sort of be tied to this where, mining, it's level 85 requirement to mine runite, and smithing, it's like, 99 smithing gets you a rune plate body, whereas to actually use those items, it's level 40 defense or attack, whatever armor or weapon you're using, it's tier 40. So it's like this weird it's in this weird spot where like it doesn't really make sense. Like we already have like smithing's kind of already maxed out. We already have what it can do at level 99, which isn't super common with every other skill. There's usually like a bit of a gap that there was, but right at the gate, smithing was super high. And so anyways, every now and then people call to have it reworked because, and I wonder if it has some influence from RuneScape 3, because RuneScape 3 did a rework to their mining and smithing skill. And I think they kind of did a good job where they shifted things around and they made it so to mine rune, it requires 40 mining, just like it requires 40 defense to wear. And it requires 40 smithing to make it. And then they have all these different new armors and different ores they added in between level 40 and whatever, 85 or whatever it is. And eventually you can make like, what is it called? Elder Runite? Like it's the level 90 equivalent. And it's like a upgraded version of Rune. So somebody made a post about it, and some JMods were talking about how smithing does feel a bit outdated, but they can't really change it the way RuneScape 3 did because we don't like change usually. That's and they said it's too disruptive to make a change like that.
Yeah, smithing is a weird one, isn't it? Because there's really only one way to train it, and that's doing gold ore with goldsmith gauntlets at the blast furnace, which thankfully is really high XP per hour.
Yeah.
But it's also fairly click intensive. Well, not super click intensive, but it's not exactly a fun activity. You're just running back and forth and banking, etc. There's really not much to it. It's kind of expensive and there's really no benefit to it. Whereas like at least mining, which I still consider the worst skill in the game, there's some variety. You can do motherlode, at least when you get to the upper levels. Like I actually quite like mining now that I'm past 92. Mm-hmm. Getting to 92 was pretty shit, but now that I'm here, there's volcanic mine, there's motherlode if I want to go back there. There's amethyst, which is I enjoy, especially as an iron, because there's a reason to do it. I'm getting arrows, and I love seeing that stack grow up to 50k amethyst arrows. Pretty sick. And I know I'm just going to keep going, so it's kind of cool to see the collection grow. So at least there's something there at this point. But smithing, just kind of the whole journey is just pretty terrible. You never even have to do early game smithing because one quest gets you to level 29 right away.
True.
Which is extremely peculiar based compared to the other skills. And there's really no use for it. So like for that reason, I think it's like a lot of people choose it as like one of their last skills to max because there's no use for it.
Yeah.
It's kind of a weird one.
Yeah, it is a weird one.
Even something like there's a lot of skills that are slower, but at least there's some variety to them, like or they're AFK, and that's why I think they're loved. Like people like wood cutting. Is there a lot of variety to it? No, you just chop the tree. Is there a lot of use? No, but redwoods are so AFK and like decent levels of experience that it's like pretty liked by a lot of people. Like they quite enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
And if a skill is like too click intensive, it's kind of the perfect storm for smithing. But its saving grace is that the XP rates are really high. I think if they were low, like 100k an hour, it'd be the worst skill in the game by far.
Yeah, no, I can totally see that. Like what is? Do you have a favorite skill in this game, like non-combat, but like favorite?
Oh, farming, 100%.
Yeah. Why do you like? What do you like about farming?
I like that there's variety to it. It's mobile friendly. I like that it's time gated because it lets you like pop on mobile, do a little farm run. I like that you can make money from it. I like that there's variety to it. I love the farming guild. Last week when you said we talked about like anticipated updates, I actually forgot about the farming guild. I was a pretty new player when it came out, and I had already gotten, I think, close to 99 farming, and it came out, and I was so excited for it. You can do the boss Hespori. There's different levels of trees. I know some people truly hate it, but I don't know. For me, it's just the best skill in the game, and it's so different than all the other skills, and I think that's why I enjoy it.
I really like farming as well, and I think for a lot of the same reasons. I like that when you're harvesting your crops. Well, first off, I really like farming games like Stardew Valley,
yeah,
and like Harvest Moon and shit. But I like how like the game loop, the skilling loop, you kind of visit your different patches. You don't have to visit all of them. Everyone has their own ways of doing it. You can just, some people just do the trees, some people just do herbs.
Some people just do fruit trees like I did to 99
Yeah.
both times, which was a mistake the second time. But you're right. There's a lot of options for it. And some people don't like the daily nature, but I like it because you really don't have to play for very long to get huge chunks of XP. You know, in one farm run, you could get like over 100k XP easily.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So like in a week, you could see yourself getting from like 90 to 91, even if you're just playing like on your lunch break or something at work.
Yeah, and it's nice, and you're not just clicking different pink spots on the wall like you do with like mining amethyst, but you might go to Ardone, you might go to the farming guild, you kind of go around this path, you go to different spots around the world of RuneScape farming. But so yeah, I agree, it is quite fun. Yeah,
it just has a good vibe to it. I've always loved farming. It's always been my favorite skill. It's kind of hard to explain. It's just very different than the other skills. But if you kind of take that, if you ignore farming for a second, because it is so different, it's kind of hard for me to pick my favorite skill.
Like picking the second favorite.
I mean, there are some that I don't really like, but I don't really hate. Kind of like fishing and woodcutting, because they're like kind of AFK, but they're slow. They're kind of boring.
Mm-hmm.
There are some that are a bit too click intensive for me, like rune crafting or agility. They're kind of slow rates and they're fairly click intensive. Don't like those. Mining, I think is still the worst skill, just because getting to 92 is just so terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, weirdly, some of the, it's hard to say really. Construction sucks. At least it's fast. But I mean, some of the perks are so good. Like crafting is really good. But like when you really boil it down, a lot of the skills are kind of just the same. Like herblore, crafting. You're just opening stuff out of the bank and just getting XP. You know, bank standing skills.
Yeah, that's true. It's tricky, and like skills that could be a lot of fun, like hunter. And you get to a spot where it's just like do these two activities, even though there is so much, like hunter has such a large variety of different things to do, but like half of them are like, don't do them. There's no reason to do half these activities, and then you're stuck. Okay, just do chins or just do herbivore, which isn't that much fun either.
Yeah, I'm like realistically now, probably my second favorite skill is rune crafting
because of Guardians of the Rift.
Simply because of how enjoyable I find Guardians of the Rift.
Yeah,
I could easily do that to 99 and be happy about it.
Yeah, it's tough.
But like there's a lot of nothing skills. You know, like fletching, there's not much to it.
Yeah,
there's not really any point either. As an Iron Man, there's points to it. But like as a main, there's not much to it. Thieving, there's not much to it. Just click the knights.
Thieving is another one that I think maybe in like 5 years we'll look at thieving and it'll be an awesome skill because of what you can do with it. Yeah, there's so much potential, just like Hunter does.
I imagine there was like a burglary mini game where you have to like break into people's houses and like sneak past guards. People would hate that because of the sneak mechanic.
But they made it good somehow.
Or like maybe you have to like attack them on certain, like when they're in a certain spot, you could like, I don't know, knock them out or whatever. There's potential to have like a really, really cool thieving mini game that's not only time based.
Yeah, thieving can be good.
At least thieving has some options, right? Because you can do blackjacking and it's fast, or you can just do knights and AFK.
Yeah, pyramid plunder is an option, and
exactly if you want to make a little bit of money on the side. And there's options to get the levels up. I'm kind of looking at this weird because I have, all my stats are close or higher than level 90. So I'm really only doing late game slow methods at this point. But actually, like if you go down to the early game of the skills, that's why I think mining is so shit, because it's just so slow and not very fun. It's click intensive. Agility is just kind of the same the whole way. At least Herblore and those skills are fast. So
and they're pretty chill. I like construction a lot. I like building up a house. I like designing it, and there's so much fun shit you can add. But the actual process of training it kind of sucks. I mean, it really sucks.
Two separate questions, isn't it? Like, which skill do you actually like, and which skill do you enjoy training?
Yeah, it's almost like everything has like Yeah, there's two aspects of it where the end result, and then there's like getting to that end result. And a lot of things that I like about skilling tends to be when it's like somewhat RNG based or like kind of loot boxy. Like I like Winter Todd because I really like Winter Todd. I remember when I was doing it early on, the experience, it's so fast. I love opening up the boxes and like seeing what kind of rewards you're gonna get. That stuff's always fun. And having that, I think tying that into like skilling makes things a lot more fun. I think that's like at the core of what RuneScape is. You kill something.
I also really like the AFK skills that they are in the game, like fishing and like wood cutting. And I think this is why they're generally enjoyed skills. Like people never say they hate wood cutting. It wasn't particularly fun getting to level 90, but I mean, there are options and they're all like reasonably AFK, which is kind of cool because, you know, you can be doing a little project on the side and still playing RuneScape. I think that part of the game is still a good thing that those methods exist for certain skills, you know?
Oh yeah. I totally agree. And having
there's a lot of AFK gamers out there. You know who you are.
There's a lot of people. Yeah, there's a lot of people who play this game like as just an idle game.
Well, sometimes you get home from work and like you're logging in or like you have an hour to play. You don't want to do any PVM. You just want to chill and like, I don't know, put a show on and cut some redwoods, you know, or do some solo steps.
Fishing is like,
and it's nice that you have those outlets.
Fishing's like pretty realistic. You sit there, it can be very relaxing where you're just sitting there and waiting,
too, right? Like you can do minnows, not that people really would. You could do barbarian. There's also Temporos. There's lots of choices. There's some cool outfits and pets to collect. You've got Karambwans if you really want to go for the pet and like maybe make a little cooking or money on the side. And the skill feels like it's actually a valuable skill.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Same with Hunter. You've got birdhouse runs for Hunter, which make it a lot more viable because you make some money that way, and it's a solid method that you can throw down at work. I've been going really, really hard at the birdhouse runs recently.
Oh, really? What are you doing them for?
I'm trying to do like 5 a day. Mostly for the bird's nests.
Okay.
And to just passively get 99. I'm at 95 right now, so I need the bird. Next is calling. It's calling my name. I have this like wild plan to get 99 thieving at Master Farmers. Okay, this is how shit Nex is. I got 99 herblore from like level 94 or something. I only made good potions. So brews, restores, prayer pots, and some anti-fires. That's all it took for me to get 99. I made 4,500 brews. I currently have 2,500 left, and I still don't have a single drop at Nex.
Wow.
I've used 2,000 brews. So I got 2.5K left. Prospects are not looking good. I am out of toad flax seeds. I farmed them all. I have like 3K toad flax ready to go, but I need bird's nests. So that's primarily why I'm doing birdhouse runs, because I need to keep up with the toad flax. But then since I'm out of toad flax and I'm not really doing chambers of Xeric anymore for it, I'm going to need to get more seeds. And really the only reasonable option is thieving. So I'm planning to finish my last 7 levels of thieving at Master Farmers.
Oh God.
It's like 6 million XP there. Next is like, whereas I rather would have just already knights and it would have been twice as fast. But this way, at least I'll have like infinite prayer potions and stuff.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it's doing all this plan. I kind of like the planning stage of it, but yeah, Next sucks is the real. I hope they come out with some kind of like soloable version that doesn't.
Oh, they have to. I think. Okay, so this is my prediction for 2023. I think 2023 is going to be the year of skilling. I think we're going to get a lot of updates to skills and different skills that people hate. They've pitched this hunting update that's going to be hunting and farming. We have to kill this monster using those 2 skills. And I'm sure we're going to see more in 2023. But I think when people start getting rowdy over new PVM updates, they're going to bring in solo Nex, whatever they're going to call it. Nex, the 5th general.
See, I also do hope that they don't like vastly change the XP rates, because yeah, we complain about rune crafting sucking. But like, let's say you could get 45k XP an hour at Souls. It's a little bit faster at Guardians of the Rift, but it's infinitely more fun and more rewarding. Like XP rates are kind of like an afterthought if the actual activity is enjoyable, or AFK, in my opinion.
Yeah, no,
Like
no,
Sepulcher,
100%.
like Sepulcher, like it's slightly better rates and far more intense than rooftops. So at least you have a choice now for agility, and people really like Sepulcher. Like there's real rewards, like expensive rewards, like that ring.
Oh
You know, you have a good pet chance. Like all of these things kind of come, and it's intense, like activity, almost PVM style. I haven't even done it yet. I'm saving it for 92 agility. I'm looking forward to it.
What's your agility now?
90 or 89, close to 90.
Not bad.
So-
I'm getting close to 92. That's where I'm headed next.
So I think like unless it has an AFK option or a enjoyable like gameplay experience, I think the skill sucks. And like for like smithing, for example, that's why people kind of hate it, because not only is it useless, but it's annoying. It's not very fun to train, and it's not AFKable. So therefore, it's a bad skill.
Even if it's fast to train, if it's boring, people will still complain about it, which I think is fair.
Like constructions is terrible. Like it's not a very fun skill to train, in my opinion, like doing the same clicks. But my God, it's very, very fast. Like you can do it in a couple of days if you're really rich.
Mm-hmm.
And the rewards from it are insane. Like the house upgrades are like ridiculous at certain levels. Like upgrading your POH along the way is really, really fun. It gives you a lot of options throughout the game. And then obviously if you get to 99, the cape is incredibly rewarding.
Mm-hmm.
So the rewards carry construction. But there's nothing to carry a skill like smithing.
Yeah, or thieving's another one. It's kind of fast.
Even
it
thieving,
sucks.
like there's not a lot to carry it besides the fact that it's fast. So thieving in a way to me is kind of like smithing. And you could argue that about fishing and wood cutting, but those have like AFK options, which make them therefore less bad, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Same with like fletching is another one. Like it's super fast skill. We're talking if you have money here. Even if you don't have a lot of money, it's still a fast skill to train. The rewards aren't very useful, but the speed of it make up for how bad it is. There's another one, crafting, especially as an Iron Man. Like it sucks to do, but the rewards are so good being able to make the PVM jewelry. And then obviously if you get to 99, the crafting skill cape is one of the best skill capes in the game. So the rewards carry the skill. Yeah, you kind of have to take them as a whole. But yeah, I think it's pretty obvious that smithing's outdated. Do you think any others are outdated?
I think a bunch of them are. Yeah, I think a lot of them, like fletching you mentioned, you don't really, it hasn't changed. Maybe the darts, we've got some darts added, but like ultimately I don't think much has changed. It's kind of stayed in the same spot. It's not the most fun. Crafting is kind of the same as well. Like most skills, let's go through the list. Let's see. The artisan skills, I guess.
The buyables?
Yeah. So yeah, cooking, crafting, fletching, herb lore. They haven't really changed at all since OSRS came out in 2013. Items get added, but the way you interact with them is almost exact. It's basically exactly the same.
Yeah, I mean, like the saving grace of all of them is they're just fast to train, right? Like all buyables are pretty quick to train, and half of them have pretty decent rewards, right? So like herb lore has great rewards in that you can start to make the overload potions at raids, which is super helpful. What else did we mention? I guess crafting we talked about. If you're an iron, it's good, and if you get the cape, it's also pretty good. And the rest of them are just kind of quick, knock off the list whenever you can. They're kind of nothing skills though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The gathering skills, I think they've put a lot of work into recently. Obviously with things like rune crafting, which is really nice to see. So I and Sepulcher as well. There's not really a gathering skill, but it was a pretty shit skill. But yeah, I think smithing is very much the next one to come, and then thieving is probably close behind it.
I think we're going to be seeing in the next year or two, we're going to be seeing a lot of more skilling activities coming out, especially as like PVM is getting a bunch of stuff. Skilling is kind of something that needs to constantly be expanded upon as well, because there's so much depth to it, but at the same time, not enough. But anyways, yeah, we'll have to see. I mean, we got a smithing update that should be coming out at some point. We'll see how that does it for the skill. But yeah, skilling, love it or hate it. Curious to hear what other people have to say. So call in, write in, let us know what you think about scaling. It's not the question of the week, but we'll get to that. Let's go into the update segment, the part where we talk about the news. All right, so first thing we're going to talk about is Group Iron Man mode. They're adding an unranked Group Iron Man mode, basically. We've talked about this already because we just got the dev blog and now it's on its way, and then it came out. But basically, yeah, we mentioned the problem was a lot of groups suffered this problem where one person was very committed and everyone else dropped off. So then this one player is left basically playing a regular Iron account, but they have the Group Iron status. But because the way Group Iron mode is, they can't really bring on new players, or they can't leave their group and join another group. It's this weird problem. So they're just kind of stuck playing solo. But they're bringing this new mode called Unranked Group Iron Man mode, which will allow people to join other groups. You'll be removed from the high scores, but it allows you to leave your group with your account and join another group. Yeah, it seems quite positive. And with that, looking to make untradables tradable, so like one person can grind out Void or some other item, and then everyone could share it. And finally, they have what's called the Group Boss Bash Raffle, where this event has started earlier this week, and it will be running for 2 weeks. And basically, you and your group of Iron players go out and do a bunch of content, whether it's Temperos, Wintertide, or any PVM boss. And if you meet the award conditions, you will get a raffle ticket for completing it. And after the 2 weeks, they're going to choose 10 groups, and they're going to receive 1 year of membership. And one of those groups will get a lifetime worth of membership on that specific account. So you can't start playing Group Iron Man mode and then transfer that lifetime membership to another one. But
damn,
yeah.
Looks like we're locked in for life, boys.
yeah, exactly. Pretty cool stuff. There's Group Iron Man mode. Anything we mentioned a lot at the beginning. Anything else you want to tackle on while we're talking about Group Iron Man mode?
No, I think I pretty much covered the points I wanted to make about it.
Yeah. Is there I remember a lot of people were hyped for content creators to jump on this. Are there a lot of content creators are they still invested into their?
The main two groups that I know are both hardcore groups. So there's the farmers, who are like faux MMORPG, Roidy, and Mammal, and they only have one life left in their group. So my guess is when they die, they're going to go back to their hardcores, which they all have. I don't know if Mammal has one anymore. MMO has like one of the best Iron Men in the game.
Oh wow!
And yeah, he has a disgusting account. And then I definitely know that Foe and Roidy both have solid hardcores that are like basically ready to do chambers and stuff. So they have something to fall back into. And Mammal just kind of makes content. He has a sick Iron as well. So they've all got stuff projects they might fall back to when they die, which is probably going to be pretty soon because they're doing Theater of Blood now. And they look a little rusty. But they're all great players, but it only takes like one little mistake. And they've got like that little mistake is not like a regular hardcore. It's multiplied by 4, right? Because now there's 4 people who have a chance to make a mistake. Mm-hmm. So the chance they die and like move on soon is, I imagine, relatively high. Or like 1 DC and they're gone, you know?
Yeah.
And then there's obviously Alfie, who maxed in like 150 days on his account.
Mm-hmm.
His group mates are Zulu and Alkin and Devious. So they're like working on they're like maxing boys. They're doing a good job.
Nice, not bad. I
sometimes watch Devious's videos. They're more like a skiller group though.
So they're out there. If you want to watch some Group Iron content, it is being made somewhere.
Those are the two main groups, yeah. But I reckon if they died, they would probably move on to other projects. And then there would be like not that I know of any high level groups left. So, or if there were, I'm not aware of them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a tough situation. I think it'd be tough for Jagex if they did die. And the group mode it's like pretty casual, I think. Sadly, I'm glad they're trying something.
Yeah. I mentioned it earlier, but I think having more ways, even if it's not as popular, to play the game, it's never a bad thing. It's kind of what keeps this game alive, being able to play it so many different ways. So
Group Ultimate Iron Man when
share one inventory. Oh my god.
Yeah. Share one death pile. Yeah. Jeez.
Oh geez. Okay. Next, let's talk about the PvP arena revised rewards. So they've come back with some new rewards to see if the community is going to like it. So before they had basically it was like Void, but you didn't need gloves, and it was better than Void because I think it required less defense. And there were 3 tiers, and the lowest tier I think was 1 defense, and Void is 42 defense. The second tier was I think 40 defense, and the third tier was 70 defense, something like that. But my point is, it was like Void, but it was better than Void, and it was these PvP armor sets. So they've come back with them, and they decided to pitch them again, but a little bit differently. Instead of them being Void but better and not requiring gloves, so that then you could which makes it even better because you can use like barrel gloves or whatever gloves you have access to. Instead, this is almost like an alternative where whether you're wearing the melee, mage, or range set, it will give you negative attack and defense bonuses in all the other combat stats. So for instance, if you have the melee armor set, it's going to give you negative attack to range. And it'll give you negative to your attack, your offensives, except for melee, and it'll give you negative to your defensives, except for I think probably like mage or something. So the idea was, and it's instead of it giving you a strength bonus, it would give you an accuracy bonus. So basically the idea was it'd be more like a glass cannon. You would take a lot more damage, but you could do more damage in the sense of being more accurate. So you didn't have to worry about RNG being on your side and hitting really high. You'd be able to hit more consistently. So they have this for all of the combat styles: mage, range, and melee. And as before, there's 3 tiers. So one's going to require 1 defense, one will require 40 defense, and the last will require 70 defense. But to note, each of the higher tiers will give you a higher negative stat change. Yeah, that's basically this new Void set. What are your thoughts of this? We'll just call it the Void set, even though it's going to be working a little bit differently, but it's similar where you just have to swap out the helmets instead of any other piece.
I don't know. I just don't see how it passes the poll, to be honest.
I think it's better.
It's certainly better. Yeah.
I liked the first iteration of the armors, but a lot of people didn't. Most people didn't.
I think the problem with the first iteration was like they looked sweet and they were like obviously powerful, but like PvP was almost, they're trying to push it in a direction where it's basically just a private server that isn't even connected to the main game anymore, where it should be like an organic part of RuneScape. And if people just make their account, do like 2 quests, and then buy a few buyables, and then just go to the PvP arena, and then that's all they do. They're like not even playing the same game as everyone else. You know, they're not grinding out their barrows gloves. They're not grinding out their skills to do some quests. And like, yeah, people hate that part of the game, but it also like, that's what makes RuneScape. So if you're just going to like have them set up their own private server arena, I don't even think they're playing the same game anymore in some regards. Maybe that's just a cynical opinion.
Well, I mean, a lot of people feel that way. I've been seeing a lot of...
even PvPers feel that way to some extent. Like, why should everyone just get to skip the game and just play PvP? You know, like, this is RuneScape. Like, it's rewarding to do every part of it. And I do wish PvP had some love, but I just don't think this is what they need.
I like that this is an alternative to Void, so that it's still worth it to use Void in a lot of different situations, and this would just be another set of armor. I have a peer, and my peer is like kind of getting closer. Like, I'm at the point where I would just have to max out its skills, and then it's done. And the skills are in their 90s, so we're getting close. And I spent a lot of time creating this account and planning it out. And I think planning what quests you're gonna do and planning out what stats to grind, all that stuff. I think that was a large part of it. I'm like mixed because on one hand, that was super important, and I got to plan out the quests, and I had to be like sit there and really have to think about how I wanted to make this account. On the other hand, it took a long time. It took a long time until he could actually start PKing, and it was quite the process. It would have been nice if I could have PK'd earlier, but the way I kind of planned it out was I was at a very big disadvantage early on. I had to really level up my combats to like the 90s before I could actually start facing people my level, just because I had a higher prayer level and stuff. So on one hand, I think, the building my account was super important. On the other hand, it's
something to be proud of, though, because you didn't just log in, go to the PvP arena, win 100 games, and now you have, a build. It's you did all these different things to like make your account what it is, and that's part of the game. And I just don't think PvPers should be exempt from that.
I think LMS does a good job at like, if you want to PvP and skip all the quests, you got LMS to look at. You can just jump right into that after you get whatever the requirements are, like 500 total level or something.
Yeah, Torvesta, obviously he's like a professional RuneScape player, so that's his job. But he had this series a long time ago, maybe a couple of years now, where he basically from scratch with no money added to the account, from nothing made like his dream PvP account. I think that's what it's called, like the dream PvPer. And he PKs at all the brackets along the way. He does all the quests. And he does like PVM to make a little bit of money on the account to like buy bonds and stuff. And it is one of my favorite series that I've seen. Because he plays the whole game, but obviously his focus is on PvP, I think many PvPers would agree, like they don't want it to be removed from the game. They want it to be closer to the game. And I think the arena in its current state would just drive a even bigger wedge between the communities, or the PvP community and the rest of the RuneScape communities.
See, that's interesting. I have like the opposite take. I think it's going to bring more people interested into trying PvP, and then which might lead them to the wilderness. That's kind of what happened to me with LMS.
But the problem is, like, I think the wilderness and PvP are different things in this scenario. Like the PvP arena is just something that's going to be somewhere in the game where people can go and fight each other, and that is different to the wilderness.
Yeah, I think it's going to be different, but I think there's a bigger barrier to like PKing in the wilderness, because you could lose a lot of money, and if you're not good, you're going to lose a lot of money while you're learning.
We should reach out to like a PvP streamer and like get them on.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Because I would be curious to ask them a lot of these questions, like what do they think? Because I'm not a part of the PvP community. I like do watch their streams sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that would be interesting to see what their take is on this. And I know they're all going to have different takes, but I think that would be worth pursuing for us.
Yeah, no, that's a good one. Yeah, we should definitely look into that.
Because while I do care about their community, like at my heart, I'm a dirty PVMer, so I'm always going to be biased whether I think I am or not. Yeah,
that's fair. And I'm probably biased on the other side, where like I always want to be a good PvPer, but I'm not. But I can, I got my pure and stuff, so I do a little bit of everything. But I think PvP has always held such like my excitement for RuneScape. A lot of it stems from like the wilderness from back in the day. But back to the Void armor. I agree with your point before. I think these are better, but the first iteration failed by so much that I don't think this will hit 75%.
Even the most hardcore of PvPers with that breakdown wanted them to fail.
Yeah, like the first set. I think I've been reading in the Discord, the PvPers do like this much more, but I still don't think it's going to pass just because how much the first set failed. I think a lot of people might not look into this as much. They might see it, okay, these armors again. Didn't like the first one. The second ones are probably just going to be just as bad. Okay, the next piece is they had these items called wristbands of the arena, which were going to be like a better version of Barrow's gloves. Instead, they're bringing these things called the fighter's wrist wraps, and you will be able to attach these to, there's 3 tiers, so you can attach them to mithril gloves, rune gloves, and barrows gloves. And what it will do is it will boost its offensive stats, but it will remove its defense stats. So again, going back to like the glass cannon sort of style, and you would still be required to grind out mithril, rune, or barrows gloves in order to use these wraps. So I think this is a better move. Like you'll still need to, these won't replace barrows gloves because you'll need to get barrows gloves to use these. And this would make it so if somebody wanted to be more offensive with less defense, you have the option. I think it's better. Again, though, what
if the arena ends up like, let's say you're just a wildy, you just want to PK in the wilderness. Like that's all you want to do. And now all of a sudden you're forced to go and do the PvP arena when really what you want to be doing is being in the wilderness fighting people. Well, and now here's another grind that you have to go and do to upgrade your barrows gloves. That's what I'm afraid of as well. Like, I mean, I'm not a PvPer, but if I have a little pure, the only really place I would ever want to PK would be the wilderness. I don't want to be in LMS fighting. That's not really my thing. I wouldn't really be interested in being ranked because I'm not that good. I just want to go and get in scraps in the Rev Caves, or I'd want to go and get in scraps just in the wilderness. I wouldn't really want to do those things. And if that's the ultimate goal, then I think this is potentially dangerous or negative.
So my opinion would be like, I don't think you're going to feel forced to do this. Quite often it's good to have defense. You don't want to, being a glass cannon isn't always good in the wilderness. Well,
then isn't this just dead content then?
Well, I think it gives people the option. I think some people are like, for me, I would probably want to stay with more defense. Plus it's cheaper just for the barrows gloves. All this wraps just make these gloves more accurate and you lose the defense, but they're not going to be, the melee strength all stays the same. So like for someone like me, if I'm peeking on my main, I would probably still bring the barrows gloves. Now, again, this would be a great time to talk to someone who's like really good at PKing to see like how good is it to have defense when you're in the wilderness. But like I'll bump into a lot of people who have the SERP helmet and they have like, maybe I'll see them with like a DFS. So they're really like focusing on bringing some defensive items. So I don't know if it's going to outright replace it, but again, this might just be an option for someone. I mean, like my pure, I might want to grind out the mithril gloves because I don't have any defense anyway. So like, fuck it. Let's really go all in on the offensive. But so I think these fighters wraps will probably be, if any item's going to pass, it might be these ones, but I wouldn't be surprised if they also failed. But yeah, we can move on to finally, they're going to be repolling the cosmetics, the ornament kits. So there's a whole bunch of them: Dragon Claws, Armadillo, yada, yada, yada. But they're going to be pulling them all separately. So you can pick and choose because they all failed, but they're all grouped together. Do you want them all or do you want none of them? So now they're going to be repolling them all separately. Yeah, that's about it. Anything you want to mention before we move on to our last piece of news?
No, let's do it.
All right, cool. The last piece of news is, there is a Kickstarter going live in a few days called RuneScape Kingdoms. If you want this board game, hop onto the Kickstarter. Yeah, I had someone mention that they've been playing the Dark Souls board game, which was from the same company, Steamforge. And they said the Dark Souls board game is a ton of fun. So that's pretty great. I've heard that some board games aren't great from this company, but some are. So hopefully RuneScape is one of the better ones. Okay, let's take a quick break and then we will come back and we will wrap things up. Okay, we are taking a quick little break and heading on over to the Grand Exchange where we talk about how you can support the show. First things first, if you don't want to sign up for Patreon or any of that jazz, but you still want to help the show out in some way, give us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts or iTunes and Spotify. I think you can do that on Spotify too, apparently. So that'll help for other people finding the show. But hey, if you've been wanting to support financially for whatever reason, I'm not going to ask, you can sign up to patreon.com/The Wilderness Podcast to do that. But hey, if you're one of our top tier supporters, you do get a shout out on every single episode. So thank you to Bronze Yon, Yolfi Ferric, Strosity, Olm My Lord, P Jackals, Mallard, Spalimo, Szechuan, Yay Fiber, and Yay Fiber. Thank you guys so much for supporting the show, and thank you to everyone else who supports the show as well. Patreon's not your thing, but you still want to support in another way, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/dills to do that. So thank you very much to 2JZ Soup for buying me a coffee this week. And of course, thank you to the people who are boosting our Discord server, which is discord.gg/thewilderness. So thank you to Battlestaffs, Chick, and Catbarv67. All right, let's wrap this bad boy up. Okay, we're going to speed run through this. So we have Heartless put out a bounty last week where he wants people to call in or write in. You can on Discord or write us an email talking about what items do you think should be brought into the game, whether this is what was the specifics? It could be weapons, armor, anything.
Weapon, armor, fashionscape, whatever, any item. Yeah, that's basically it. And yeah, 25 mil to the winner. And then I have 2 bonds that I'll just randomly give, one to 2 different players that just enter. So just for entering, you get a chance at one of the bonds. Very,
very exciting. So we'll do the deadline for episode 211. And depending on how many people call in, this might have to be a bonus episode or maybe just a segment in the 211 episode, but we'll see. We'll see when we get there. We've gotten a bunch so far, so I'm excited to read everyone's and hear everyone's pitches. So it should be pretty cool. And so that being said, that is still the question of the week. We will continue our question of the week next week with 211 once this bounty is done. I like calling it a bounty, so we'll keep doing that. But I got to do some quick housekeeping. So guys, if you want to join our clan in-game, it is called Wild. Feel free to join it as a guest and ask someone to invite you. Our Discord is discord.gg/thewilderness. And our email is thewildernesspodcast@gmail.com. We also have a Twitter. You can send in your ideas through Twitter as well, @thewildernessrs. And there is a link in the description of this episode to it's called SpeakPipe, and that's where you can call in if you would like to leave a voice message instead. Heartless, anything before we wrap her up?
Nope. Remind me next week when we have more time. I'll tell you about these stories when I took my class to the petting zoo and we saw the baby goats.
Oh, that sounds fun.
It was really fun. Yeah, it was a good time. I'll save it for next week because I know you have to jet now. But we'll start out next episode with those stories. It was a pretty good day.
How exciting! Great stuff. Yeah. Okay, our song of the week. Do you have a song of the week? I have one pulled up here, but if you have one you want to pitch,
no, you send it.
Okay, let's do "Heart and Mind," which is a music track unlocked in the body altar that is south of the Edgeville Monastery. And fun fact, the body runecrafting altar is shaped like a heart.
And the mind altar is shaped like a brain.
Is it really? Oh, that's awesome.
Yep.
Cool. Great stuff. All right. Well, that was 211 or 210. I got to go sleep train the baby. We're on a strict schedule, so we really got in there real quick. But yeah, we'll see you guys next week.
Take care.